whether you like the guy or not, that this is irrelevant. But when the DeSantis Disney stuff hit mainstream media, a lot of people, including people like my parents who had no idea like any of this stuff was going on, it opened their eyes to why is the governor going after Disney and saying that Disney's going after children. I mean, you're right. Your video today, everyone should watch it. Disney's broken. I mean, it was spot on, and it is just like we're at this point where we're going to sit back and go, either they're going to sell or they're going to fire everyone or they're going to make some serious changes because I don't see number one, I have no idea what Lucasfilm brings to the table to make money. MCU is just barely breaking even, I guess, from like that last film.
It's not even.
Well,
Guardians was okay, but
that's what I'm saying.
Overall.
Like Guardians was like the last thing, and then it's like you have Disney Plus. They're printing money with that.
Well,
sarcasm.
Here's the thing. Look, everything you just said is totally correct.
And yet they extended Iger.
And yet they extended because the board is incompetent, and we've talked about that. And I've made no bones. And let me tell you what. The most out on the limb video I felt that I've ever done on YouTube. And again, this is not because of what I said. It's because of what I do professionally and have for 20 years. I have to be cautious about how I approach things, even though I use an alias on YouTube. And that's why I do it, because of what I do in real life. And I have to separate professional from just commentary here on YouTube. But when I went out and I said in a video that, you know what, people should really just take a vote of no confidence in the Walt Disney Company board and Bob Iger, that was the most out on the limb thing I've ever done as a professional. But I believe it. I absolutely believe it because I think they're incompetent. I think they're totally incompetent. And they're as incompetent now as they were 2 or 3 years ago. Nothing has changed. Some of the names and faces on that board have changed. But from a cultural standpoint, from a business standpoint, that board is garbage. And I blame not the board even necessarily. I blame the majority stockholders that put them in there. I blame the custodians. And when I say custodians, I mean the investment banks, the mutual fund companies that are proxies for the largesse of the voting shares of Disney stock. They don't know what the hell they're doing, but at the same time, they think that, we'll get Bob Iger back. Sure, let's do this. Disney isn't doing really well. Let's bring back Bob Iger. And love her or hate her, but Christine McCarthy is a very smart woman. Like it or not, Christine McCarthy is a brilliant woman. And she is the one who got Bob Chapek tossed to the curb and got Bob Iger back in because of she's good at what she does. Now she's turned around and walked away. We've talked about this in previous weeks. Why is she leaving? Well, I think she left because we found out a few weeks later that Bob Iger got renewed. And I don't think she was happy with that at all. Even though that she was the one that helped bring him back, but that's where we are. Disney is in a flat spin. They're in a death spiral.
I just have one thing. Pride comes before destruction.
Yes, they do.
That's all I could see. It's just what they have no one to hire for that job.
Yep.
They don't know where to go. Like
that's it, Jay.
We've seen those reports for Lucasfilm. They're like, well, we can't get her Kathleen Kennedy because nobody wants the job. So
yeah, but here's the thing: Marvel and Lucasfilm, even though Marvel and Lucasfilm are crapping out in the box office, crapping out on Disney Plus, there is still a deep-rooted intrinsic value to those IPs to Disney. And that is why, and I will give Bob Iger credit for this. Look, I'm pragmatic, folks. Don't get mad at me. But I will give Bob Iger credit for making sure he understands that things like Star Wars and Marvel are core, in his words, core to Disney. They should be. They are.
Yes.
You can still
revitalize.
It's not for
sale, then?
Yeah, no,
Middle
it's not.
Eastern person.
No.
Whether you like the guy or not, this is irrelevant. But when the DeSantis Disney stuff hit mainstream media, a lot of people, including people like my parents who had no idea like any of this stuff was going on, it opened their eyes to why is the governor going after Disney and saying that Disney's going after children. It opened the eyes to more people, like, because it hit Fox News, CNN, all these. It was in the news. It wasn't just YouTubers talking about it anymore.
Yep.
It was everywhere, and that opened the eyes to so many people saying, well, I don't want to go to that place if they're going to have, they're going to do stuff to kids and all that stuff. And they're for all this stuff with kids. And so I think that was a huge blow, because after all that stuff happened, the numbers just started to fall off a cliff. On every front, movies, theme park attendance, and so on. And it's just like, it just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Like, I just think that type of media attention that came right to Disney's door front, where they're like, yeah, the governor passed a woke bill and doesn't want this. And Bob Chapek's like, no, I'm going after him. And it's like, wait a minute, Disney's supposed to be making family fun entertainment. Why are they getting involved in politics? It just opened the eyes. Yeah, just what Steven is saying, to normies, where they're like, well, I don't like that. I just wanted to go ride Pirates of the Caribbean and Splash Mountain and have a churro. That's all I want. I don't want to get involved in all that nonsense.
You blew up Splash Mountain.
Didn't need all the extracurriculars.
Yeah, but a lot of normies didn't know that either until they got there. They're just like, is it getting repaired? Like, no, it's gone.
Serious question for you all. If you were somehow made the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, and Jay, I'm so glad you're here for this, what would you do to reform it? Is it even possible to reform Disney into something resembling its old self, or do you just need to clean house completely? I think I've already given my answer. I think there's a clean house issue, but I want to leave it to you gentlemen. Pro, Jay, take it away. Quick thoughts on that one. There's no wrong answers.
Well,
go ahead, Pro. I'll let you handle it first.
Go first. No, go first, Jay, in case my thing bugs out.
Easy. Yes, honest, in my opinion, it's an easy fix. These are easy fixes that you could go in and just start with the small stuff and just work your way on to the big stuff that you could change to bring back the magic back into these Disney parks. I mean, it's just as simple as sweeping the floor and picking up the trash when you go into the theme parks. Start there and begin to work yourself up. Take out, like, some of the ridiculous complications that you've put in, and just make it easy so people can just go and enjoy themselves again. The thing is, it's like they're spending so much money on stuff. I have no idea where their money's going. How do they spend $400 million on movies that make $200 million? It's just like, it's unbelievable. Put Star Wars back in Star Wars land. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just a little, it's just a couple notches to the left, and you could start getting things back on track. That's what I think. But they keep pushing the needle the other way and thinking that's what people want, while we're just going, we don't want that, so we're not going to pay for it. So it's just, I think it's an easy fix. It would probably take a year. I bet I could fix that in a year.
You know why you could? You know why I think you could do it, Jay? No, I'm being dead serious about this. Because you care. You actually love the people that go to Disney. You actually care about the parks. You actually care about Walt's vision. That's why I like having you on to this show, is because not only are you very engaged in seeing what's going on in the parks, both in Disney and Universal and all the other ones in your area, in the Orlando area, but you actually care about the success of the parks. You care about the cast members. You love the cast members by and large. I mean,
that's the only magic left, in my opinion. Yeah.
And that's just it. Yeah. And that's why I think somebody like you, who's boots on the ground on a routine daily basis almost, you're the one that Disney should be listening to, even though they won't.
I mean,
sad.
Yeah, 2 days ago, me and Fear the Beardo went to Universal Studios, and they just reopened. They opened their Minion Land, and they have like a new ride, which is very different. I think some people are gonna love it. I think some people are gonna hate it because, and it's not it. They're supposed to open it August 4th, but they just went ahead and opened it and didn't tell anybody, and they just are letting people enjoy the ride, and they're asking questions. How is it gonna be? Like, they're doing things, like, I think, the right way. I wrote it twice. And you were able to go and fill out a form if you chose to, or speak to someone and say, what did you like? What didn't you like? What could we change? What could we do this? What could we do that? And I'm like, yeah, what a novel concept to ask the people if they like it or not, and maybe they still have time to change certain things about the ride. It's a stand up conveyor belt ride where you get a gun and you shoot the minion villains. So it moves people really fast. It's really different. Like I said, some people might love it, some people might hate it, but it's like, man, the line moves fast because it's just like a conveyor belt, and you just get on the thing, and you do your thing. But yeah, it's like that to me is huge. When you ask the consumer, hey, how do we make this better? It just like it gives us ownership, and it's such an easy thing.
Well, to go back to what I was attempting to say, and StreamYard was blocking me apparently. Not to say there's any kind of conspiracy, just coding. But if our channels were to drop month to month 70% in terms of viewership, every one of us on this panel would say, "Huh, that's a real problem. I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to see if I can figure this out." Disney instead, remember, Disney has dropped 70% in their box office from 2019 until today. Disney is seemingly dropping this summer versus 2019 summer, something like half, maybe more, who knows, in their Disney parks. Disney is fortifying. So if I were the CEO of Disney, what would I do? Well, I would fire Kathleen Kennedy because it's symbolically important. I would immediately strip out so many of these things at the parks that make it difficult to get into them. I would make a 10-year commitment to increasing the capacity at the parks. I would return some of the perks that existed once before. I would find ways to monetize in a way that provide value to customers for the parks. I would do everything in my power to decrease losses at Disney Plus. I would revitalize some of the franchises that are currently down by putting creatives who care in charge of them, i.e. the Muppets, i.e. Star Wars, i.e. you can keep going. And I would begin selling any parts of the company that I don't think are core to the experience, because the company's been put in a place now where it's not what it once was. And so that's how I would handle it. I hope that came through.
No, we got it all. Came through.